Oh boy. Oh boy. Fun times to be had. Holy shit. Being behind sucks. I gotta be honest with you. I don't mean to ever get myself into a hole when it comes to content. But I gotta tell you, you'd be surprised some of the gems that come about, to be honest with you. But in any case, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Excuse me. Forever. Let's go. So, hopefully you guys are doing well. And, oh man, absolute nonsense. I did not expect this to be a thing, but big ups. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit today about DSP speaking on his begging, which is like a daily occurrence at this point. But he also speaks on SOK and how SOK did things right. Huh? Really? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and transition into one of my favorite segments. Hopefully one of your favorite segments, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said this shit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. So, hearing DSP's concept on begging, we'll tackle that when we get there. But him saying that SOK did things right, or did it right, is going to be fascinating because I don't know exactly how he's going to approach it. Is he going to say that it was a financial situation? Like, you know what I'm saying? That it wasn't all about profits, and that's why? Is he going to come at it from, oh, they kept certain people in line within the DSP detractor community, and that's the service they provided and whatnot, even though they directly trolled him and actually encouraged it in some way, shape, or form. So that's kind of that's not exactly how that worked out. Or did he like the fact that there was a centralized entity that he could blame for all of his woes, and with one narrative that everybody was on board with, and he didn't have to worry about, you know, trying to explain this away and explain that away and explain this away and explain that away, when there was just one thing right in front of him that he could approach and encroach on and directly attack and just be done with it. These are important questions because, excuse me, DSP doesn't like things that are complicated. It's easy to sit there and just attack one person and be done with it. He did that during the SOK saga, only going at them. He did that with Tevin and whatnot during that arc. Some other guys ended up catching some strays too, being Bill Purnell and Tex and whatnot. Then after that, he went after, well, he'd been going after Snort Purnell, let's be honest, but he was going after Snort Purnell, Secret Limited, a few other people, and he just keeps kind of transitioning around looking for an opponent, looking for some opposition. But I think which is actually interesting now I think about it, because he never goes directly at, not I'll name the segment later, sorry, that's me. Even though I've caught a stray or two over the years, he never goes at that being said directly. He never does that. And there's a reason why for that. And I've picked up on this, and I've actually talked about this during the Tevin era, to be honest, and some people kind of dismissed it, and that's fine, because, you know, not everybody's going to agree with you on everything. But it's because he actively watches that being said, honestly. And he does, and I can see a lot of his mannerisms. I can hear a lot of Alt's mannerisms in DSP's speech at times, to be honest. Now, I can't prove that, just like how I couldn't prove that DSP was watching Tevin streams in real time while he was streaming. But I'm pretty confident it happened. Did it happen all the time? No, but it happened consistently enough to where if one was looking at it, it would make sense. Just like how most people thought that there's no way DSP was stupid enough to be playing WWE champions on stream, and that's what he was doing, amongst other things. So that is an interesting thing. But yeah, for him to side with SOK after all these years is kind of interesting. But maybe, ladies and gentlemen, that goes back to the whole thing with Derek or whatever, the whole devil you know thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not accusing anybody on SOK to be pedos. What I'm saying is how DSP was like, if I get rid of Derek, then, fine, but that was the devil I know. Now I have to deal with the devils that I don't know. I think that's what DSP actually means, where SOK did it right. He thought he knew them. He thought he understand their motives and this, that, and the 30, and he could live with that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think back in those days, SOK had a lot of people that was part of that group. You know what I'm saying? And they had a lot of people that was affiliated with that group. You know what I mean? And with them all being centralized and whatever authority, if Fred even had any over some of those people, DSP was comfortable with, okay, I'll attack them, I'll demonize them, and Fred in particular, and I can live with that. I don't have to worry about too many things coming out of left corner or out of left field, and if it does, I can still just blame them. Whereas now, there is no centralized leadership. It's everybody's, it's literally, sorry, Gout of Thrones. It's early. Haven't had my SnortBucks yet. It's literally Gout of Thrones out here. Everybody has their own little kingdom or fiefdom or whatever the case may be, and he can't attack all of us. I mean, truth be told, DSP is not strong enough to take on one of us, let alone all of us. So there's that. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. Maybe I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt and I'm selling him short. We will see. If nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And let's get things set up. Let's go with let's bring out the chessboard. I haven't done that in a while. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, strap in. And let's see. I'm pretty sure, big ups to Diggs, pretty sure Raw Phil will be walking us through this.
It's good for 25.
Yes, it is. Oh, look at that. Greasy and sweaty already. Okay. Big ups to Raw Phil, who's, like I said, is bringing us into this. And let's see here. What do we got here? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Raw Phil. Darksydephil speaks on begging and the SOK did it right. This is from March 3rd of 2025. Womp, 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 womp. The year of the snake. The snakening. And let's go ahead and hop to it. Greasy already. Jesus, Phil. All right. I don't smell no bacon cooking. Let's go ahead and chop, chop. Here we go.
It's good for 25, so now we're up to 77 in support. And then Jay Strip just gifted 5 subs. That's another 25. So now we're up to 102 in support. Just like that. Ask and you shall receive. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, but when you...
If that's the case, then how is it that when people ask him to do something, he never does it? Makes you think.
Ask, the Lord provided. Much like how the great Moses raised his arms, raised his staff, and parted the Red Sea to clear the way. You must raise your arm and open the wallet to create the path, the financial path to a delicious pizza party. Clear the way to the pizza.
Yet again, begging for food. It's egregious as shit. Holy crap. And trying to put the religious like symbolism in there is really shitty. Is he gonna talk about when Moses struck that rock when God told him not to and shit? And Moses lost faith and whatnot because he found his people were suffering or whatever and he was getting desperate, and then how he couldn't lead his people into the promised land as a consequence to it. You ever think about that? Is Phil ever gonna bring that part up? Does Phil even know that part of the story? All right, fair enough.
Goddamn Red Sea's in the way. It's too freaking salty. It's gonna spoil the cheese. All right? Get the Red Sea out of the way. Let's get to the pizza.
Yikes.
See, I can do it too. I just can't do it with a straight face. That's my problem. I can't.
I mean, I guess you would have to be straight to be able to have a straight face. Let me stop. That's just me being mean. That should be me being mean. I shouldn't be taking shots at DSP because he's a closeted homosexual. I shouldn't do that. That's wrong. Though him having these weird ass fantasies about fucking PPP wanting to fucking violate him apparently in ways after getting him drunk at Hogan's bar. This should give you guys an idea of where we're at in the timeline for if I'm bringing that up. It's kind of weird. But then again, interestingly enough, that kind of harkens back though to that shit that LTG likes to do. What was that guy's name? It was one of his mods that he had over there. And LTG had this weird scenario about one of his trolls running butt naked in the snow. And him and his boys were in cloaks or whatever. And they end up hunting them down. And then whoever his one of his mods was gonna violate the guy in the snow and shit, and then they were gonna bukkake them afterwards. If you guys know, you know, but it's demonic. Diabolical. No, not even diabolical. It was demonic. It was demonic, the shit that LTG was saying in that. I wonder if I can find that clip.
Fucking faggot ass obsessed nigga. How about I take my motherfucking goddamn covenant, chase you down in the middle of the motherfucking snow? You're running. You see a bunch of us in black cloaks running towards you. You see me in a gold cloak. Big, tall, muscular, evil ass motherfucker running at you. First I start off like this, because I don't need my full speed to catch you. Then I see you start to speed up. Then I start speeding. Then I just go, and I just sick my whole covenant, and they're just chasing you, running at you like wolves in black capes. They tackle you. Run, this is you, right? I'm me, this is you. Tackle you. Grab you. I call over rocks, signaling them. Rocks come from behind you. I have all my covenant cloaks, ripping off your clothes, your ass naked in the snow, stuck. Like this. Just stuck, and they'll hold you there. You're stuck. And I'm like, Rocks. I make the snap. Rocks rips off his clothing, flops out his BBC Junior on the fucking right ass cheek on the left, while all my covenant cloaks hold you down, and he just forcefully fucks you and chokes you. And you're like, and he just chokes you, busting you, and just humiliate you. And I command my whole cloaks to stand around you and ejaculate and bust nuts all over your frozen body while we force you to lay there and freeze in the snow. Bitch ass nigga, suck my dick. Thank you for that 14 measly dollars too, faggot.
I wonder if I can find that clip. That shit's absolutely fucking demonic. I gotta give LTG credit. The storytelling was on point, but the substance of the story was just demonic. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, what person thinks that shit up?
Can't maintain my composure. Don't you remember when...
And then the fact that we're doing all this over money. This is how he gets himself excited, is over people giving him money because of the validation that it gives him. It makes him feel special. It makes him feel important. It makes him feel valued, wanted, in demand, valuable. That's really sad. That's really, really fucking sad. And I'm not one to have mercy, so well, not for pieces of shit anyway. But that's really fucking sad when you think about it.
Moses reached up to the sky and said, "Let it rain subs on top of the Israelites." See, I can't do it. I can't maintain a straight face and do it. That's my problem. I can't do it.
Wow.
Well, John Philip Stamos, all right, says, now, is YouTube going to contribute? Because we just had all this contributions on the kick side, and he's got a point. He's absolutely has a point here.
How so? Can't you just be grateful for what you get? Oh, no, it's never enough. It always, everybody has to do it, right? Everybody has to send around what they call the tide plate and whatnot. Everybody needs to contribute for everybody to be part of this this family, part of your flock, part of this cult. That's really what it is. Sick little monkey. Never be satisfied with what he gets. There's always more to be poached.
We just had a tremendous amount of support from Kay. Are we going to have anyone watching on YouTube reciprocate? Will we get some memberships, a big super chat, or a tip? Right? Will we get that?
And then he has the nerve to get mad that people call him ungrateful, an e-beggar. A lot of things, actually. He has the nerve to get mad about it, and this is how he displays it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You've already got all of this in. You know, can't you just be thankful? Nope. Always got to see if I can get more. And then see if I can get more. And then see if I get more. And he's mad that people don't want to do anything with him. Fucking amazing.
From the YouTube viewers, because we're 2/3 of the way to the goal already. We can hit the goal right now.
And that's why I'm of the theory he's going to eventually go back to Twitch. He's going to eventually go back to Twitch. You know what I'm saying? And just dual stream YouTube and Twitch, I think. Because he don't like putting the chat on screen anyway. So there's nothing really to be lost, to be honest. Because I think the only chat that's on screen at any given time is... Oh, actually, I don't know. Because I can't remember the last time I've seen a DSP stream without going through Dark Dave Mirrors or Raw Phil. So I don't even know if he even has kick chat on his streams now that I think about it. I have no fucking clue. I can honestly say that. I have no fucking clue, actually. Think about it. Womp womp. All right, I guess the egg's on me on that one. I have no clue.
And then we could be working on a second goal while we play Yakuza, and we could be so close to the pizza party.
I know for sure he doesn't have the YouTube chat on screen. So I'm pretty confident he probably doesn't have the kick up there either, I don't think. I could be wrong.
Right? So let's do it. By the way, I absolutely love these kick animations, right? I like that it shows who gifted and who it went to. It doesn't work on the YouTube side. When you gift on YouTube, it just shows, oh, someone got a membership, but it doesn't show you who gifted because it's all the YouTube thing's all.
It's in their chat. It's in the YouTube chat. If you had that on screen, people would be able to see it. Womp womp. But you know, he's got to hide the racism, the sexism, and all of the like gay fucking role playing that happens in there every once in a while. So, you know, I don't want anybody to see that.
Screwed up. That's why. But I like how it works properly.
Don't want it to distract from all the fucking hand holding and whatnot that goes on over there on his gameplay streams.
Here. Excuse me. SM double XV says, are you putting on a character or is this a gimmick? If so, your detractors are idiots for saying you beg if they don't see the character you're putting on. Do you not understand?
Begging's begging. It doesn't matter what kind of caricature or persona he has. Begging's still begging. You know what I'm saying? That's lame as shit. That's a lame ass fucking excuse to try to justify what he does.
That, listen.
How stupid do you have to be to have a character, to come up with the concept of a character for the sole purpose of begging? You know how retarded that sounds?
Okay, here's the deal. Let's be real here, all right?
And the fact that he has to explain it away already proves that it's all one and the same. There is no separation. There is no compartmentalizing. It's all the same shit.
Obviously, you know me. You've seen me in those last 8+ months. Actually, at this point, it's been so August, September, October, November, December, January.
Wait, if you're gonna go, I have to call him out on this. If he says you obviously know me, you see me every day, yada 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 yada. If that's the case, then is that not a fair assessment of who you are as a person? Let me give context. DSP says that what you see on screen or on his streams that are isolated or ISO'd into detractor content is a small part of what is the much larger stream itself. But let's go ahead and give you an example. Think of Snort Hogan, for example, or Hate Army. Big ups to them. Those guys don't mind putting up 35, 40 hour-long videos and shit. Thank God for that, by the way. But they don't mind doing that. That's a lot. That's a lot of context, right? That is consistent enough to give anybody an assessment of what kind of piece of shit DSP is. So how is it that you're going to say that these guys only take a small part of what your streams are, and that's the negative, and that's what gets overblown? And if people actually came to your streams, they would actually see you for who you are. When you're sitting right here and saying that, hey, you guys come to my streams every day, you see the behavior that I exhibit, that's who I am. But it's them that's taking it out of context. Even though you're literally saying, hey, what I do over here is what I do. They just don't understand it, but this is who I am. That's literally, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but that's literally what he's about to say. So then isn't he not admitting that he wasn't taken out of context and you're just a begging piece of shit that has nothing really to offer and are just exploiting the very mindless fucking drones that come to you every day? Makes you think.
January, February, 7 months. Now we're going on month 8, where things have changed for me. Okay, can we be honest? I'm getting way more positivity thrown my way, except for my detractors. Okay.
And yet again, and this is very important, I'm going to keep pointing this out. Everything he does is for the detractors. It's the one hurdle that he can't overcome. Well, besides his wife. But anyway, that's the one hurdle that he can't overcome, but he's desperate to do so. He's desperate to try to win a single detractor of any respectability over. Because if he thinks he can do that, he can make it stop. And it'll never stop. especially in recent years and shit. The detractors will eat their own if they have to. So let's not even act like that's a thing. So let's not act like, that's going to safeguard anything. You know what I'm saying? You lose one detractor and the game still keeps going. The war still keeps going on and shit. Like I said, everybody has their own kingdoms. Everybody's fighting for their own cause. Just because everybody's moving in the same direction doesn't mean everybody has the exact same motives and whatever. So you can't even depend on that. But DSP's an idiot, and he thinks we're all of just one big ass hive mind. So if you can take one down, you can more than likely take them all down, I guess.
People are enjoying my content and supporting it more. Why? Because they liked the stuff I did with Kino Casino last summer, and they supported that.
That's before you snaked them, right? Right? This is in March? So the snaking has already happened at this point, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm jumping the gun on that.
And I took all that support I got, and I completely revamped everything I do.
You mean reinvested? Sorry. That would be what a real businessman says. Whatever. Semantics.
From the ground up, right? Right? Look at my setup. Look at the quality of everything I'm doing. Look at the effort that I'm still putting in. I could have just stopped putting in effort months ago.
You did. That's why everything barely works. That's why it's all trash. That's why that's why no one really cares. You self-grandized yourself and whatever to make yourself feel important. And having all these gimmicks or peripherals or all these gadgets around you, most of them with LED lights and shit, because he needs his flashing lights or whatever. Just because you added all of these to your setup didn't better the content. If the content is going to get better and change, you need to change. Not you trying to change the things in your surroundings, right? Not you trying to copy RTU to some degree. Max, Justin, and some of these other guys. I mean, shit, Justin, not to take any shots at Justin Wong, but his setup isn't great, but it works for what he's doing. He doesn't need himself to be the focus of the content. It's what he's doing and what he's saying is the focus of the content. DSP never understood that. Have you ever been to a Justin stream? It's just a small box. It's a small box, usually with the camera pointed up at him, and it's him talking and the gameplay. That's the real draw. Justin doesn't have all that crazy bells and whistles. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. And he's far more successful than DSP. And don't get me wrong, I'm very much of the concept that you got to spend money to make money. But that's not what DSP did. He bought all this bullshit to make himself feel important. And it didn't actually do anything. It made things worse, truth be told. But DSP don't see that because he's an idiot. He thinks if he has the trappings of success, then people will automatically interpret it as being successful. That's not how that works. Just like the concept of being in the proximity of power is power. That's not how that works either, to be honest with you. Not unless you have some type of influence over set power or the person who wields it. But that's a whole nother story for another day.
But I'm still putting in effort to improve my content constantly for you, to try to do new kinds of content, different things, fun stuff, to make it interesting. I don't want it to be boring around here anymore.
Anymore? That's interesting, because you said it wasn't boring the first time. You said if people were bored, then they must be boring. And now we're going to do this? Okay. Just got to swim, I guess. And a hypocrite needs to be a hypocrite, I suppose.
Boring for 10 years, right? I don't want to be boring anymore.
So you're validating what detractors, basically our forefathers came before us. So you're basically validating everything that they said. And now, because things are different, you think that automatically changes. Even though all of the things that has caused you to change is because of detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, and other lolcows. He changed his way of dress because of LTG. He's changed his setup because of what people like Justin and people like Max and just other successful streamers and content creators have. Even though he calls them sellouts, shills, they don't really care about the game and they're all about just the almighty dollar. You've also, chose to associate yourself with other people because the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics basically called you a shut-in, and you're not willing to do anything with anyone unless you can take advantage of them. Oh, imagine that. That's exactly what happened with Kino Casino, at least according to your story. You use them for whatever you could get out of them, and then you decide to snake them in the end. And then he's mad that he sends out these fucking Discord messages at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and no one wants to answer back to him. As if the situation with side scrollers wasn't bad enough. As the situation with Craig was bad enough, or wasn't bad enough. Then you decide to go ahead and snake Kino Casino. You've proven that you'll fuck over anybody. You'll lie, you'll cheat, you'll steal, whatever. Figuratively, of course. On anybody to get over. And you're mad that no one won't talk to you. Makes you think.
I want to be fun. I want to do different things. And I think what's happened is people are now seeing that, okay? And they want to support it now. They get it. And they're like, okay.
So what about all the people that supported you for the last 10 years who you lied to and said that the content isn't bad, the content isn't boring, there's nothing wrong with your camera, there's nothing wrong with your setup? What about all those people, though, who were there for the long haul? I guess those are pieces of shit or just pieces of shit, right? Just mouth-drooling morons that are going to follow you and listen to anything that you say anyway. It's time to bring in new suckers. Okay, I roger that.
I see the effort. Phil has changed. We want him to stay on that path, so let's support that, right?
So when are you actually going to put in some effort? When is that going to be an actual thing? Just asking.
Does anyone think I'm destitute? Do any of you out there feel that I'm, like, broke?
Yeah, you're definitely broke. You're definitely broke. Because if you weren't, then you wouldn't have to beg day to day the way you do. You would actually have money in savings. You would actually have, I don't know, some concept or an idea of what a nest egg is and be working towards it. Not streaming from now to the day you die. And that's supposed to be your quote-unquote final solution. Just saying, Phil.
As I'm sitting here in a relatively brand new sweater, you know.
That LTG went ahead and told your ass to go out and buy. Gotta tell you, Phil, it's kind of weird that the way you look at black people, but then the first black man that you were attracted to, well, really the second, because you clearly had some type of thing for Tevin, but that's neither here nor there. That's a funny little meme we can go ahead and expound upon later. But it's very clear that you went ahead, the first black man that you were somewhat attached to and probably attracted to, told you to do something, and then you went out and did it. You didn't do this to better yourself or better the content or to better your overall way of life. You did it to appease another man. That doesn't sound gay to you? Just saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. Men give other men suggestions all the time. You know, they're usually your friends, though, right? Or associates or colleagues or whatever. LTG doesn't fit any of those categories. Whatever. I thought I'd just throw that out there.
In a setup that's pretty much completely new. Everything you see here is brand new in the last 6 to 8 months.
Just because it's brand new doesn't make it good. So womp womp to that.
You know, my quality is great.
Not really, but all right, whatever. If the camera keeps going down every 15 to 20 minutes, I don't think that's really a good thing. If the resolution of the camera can't hold for more than 20 or 30 minutes, I don't think that's a good thing. If you have to get up and unplug something because you're too lazy and too stupid to do a Windows update or do a software update or whatever, I don't think that's very good either. I can keep going if you want.
What I'm saying, like, with all this stuff, do you see anything here that says, wow, Phil is living in a cardboard box and he's going to go broke if you don't contribute? The difference is now people support me because they like what I'm doing.
So the people before that supported you didn't? Or was it all about felting the trolls? Oh, that's right. Felting wasn't even in your fucking dictionary at that time. It wasn't even in your vocabulary. So owning the trolls wasn't in your vocabulary either. So what was it again that you were doing to get people to contribute to you? And how back in those days, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know, he used to say, I want you guys to support me. Don't do it to try to get over on the trolls. There he goes, getting over on the trolls. Or trying to get them upset or whatever. Support the content because you actually like the content and you like him. Now it's all about felting and owning the trolls. Rather pathetic, to be honest with you. But usually the things that you care about the most are usually what you're going to give the most attention to. It is what it is. That's why 24/7 he thinks about his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, and why he tries to appeal to them in some way, shape, or form. And truth be told, why not? Because why would you want to appeal to a dent? A dent's a dent. They're already there. They're going to give you money eventually. So there's no point trying to appeal to someone who's already been brainwashed or under the pignosis, as you will, or if you will. So, you know what I'm saying? Why would you need to speak to a mouth-drooling moron who's already there? Fair point.
And they want to see me continue to succeed and improve because I've proven that I can do that. As opposed to previously, I was on here telling you a sob story.
Oh, so you're going to admit that you were lying to them just to get over, just so you can make ends meet or some bullshit? Oh, wow. I'm really glad I didn't jump on this when it first popped out. Holy shit.
Oh my God, I'm in bankruptcy. I can't pay my mortgage. I can't do this. And that's not the case anymore. Get it? It's not. It's better now.
It's better now, but yeah, you don't have a lick of savings whatsoever. Everything is on the Amazon fucking credit, basically. And you really need people to support you day to day, support these streams so you can keep playing the games that you want, so you can keep running the business that you're passionate about. Still sounds like you're destitute either which way. It's just you're doing it in a whole new way. And then all the money that came in, you clearly have a spending addiction and you threw it all away on bullshit. Like nothing that actually gave you more quality of life or brings anything actually to the stream. Like you're still behind. He's not even up to what is considered the industry standard. He's still lagging behind. He is still very much a dinosaur. Big ups to Christian Teo. Holy shit.
All right, we're in a better situation. So people like to see the success and they want to see more success. They like me, they like my content, they like what I stand for, and they want to see that continue.
If that's the case, then why do you have to be so... Why do you have to display so much repetition in getting these people to donate to you on a day-to-day basis? And if that's the case, why is the goal only 150? Now, granted, obviously, his real motivation is to get $300 a stream, $600 a day. But if he really is successful and people believe in what you do, why don't we have $1,000 a day as the goal? Well, here, I'll help you out. Why not $500 a day or $500 a stream? Why is that not a thing? And just place it up there, and then when the tips and the contributions, let's say that, when the contributions come in, it automatically fills. Why is that not a thing? Why is it that he says that he's being honest with you guys, and he's allegedly giving you guys so much transparency, but yet he's doing everything in his power to have control over that same transparency? Makes you think. Because, you know, the thing is, the interesting thing about successful people, they don't tell you that they're successful. You know, the thing is about successful people that's really what's even more interesting, they don't have to show you trappings of success. They don't have to have the most expensive car, the biggest house, you know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. They don't measure success and or wealth in the way that basically a commoner would. Someone who's broke, right? And is desperate to try to get people to believe that he's something or she's something that they're not. Real strange. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's look at Asmongold, for example. That dude lives in absolute fucking squalor. He doesn't have to live that way. He chooses to live that way. Talking about a guy who has millions of dollars in the bank. Right? You know what I'm saying? A multi-millionaire for sure. Off of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that even he could contest to. Does he come on stream every fucking day and sit there and say, does he come on stream every day and fucking harken on about how successful he is or how much money he has? Or does he put out content that he's interested in that people want to watch? Which one is it? Asmongold used to play video games and give his opinion about shit. Now he pretty much reacts to everything that goes on fucking Reddit and Twitter and plays games occasionally. And he's far more successful and has far more notoriety now than he ever had. But does he sit there and have to harp into people to give him money? Does he have to harp to people about how successful he is and how well he's doing? His surroundings now don't look too different from what he was doing 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe slightly cleaner, but that's debatable. It makes you think.
So when I'm on here and I'm like, let's hit the goal, let's do a marathon, let's do a reward, let's do DSP tries it. Yes, that's motivational. And sometimes people need that. Like they say, literally the adage, ask and you shall receive, works. Because
it's not meant to be used the way you're doing it. Like, that's a gross interpretation of what that is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs help, right? In some way, shape, or form. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. DSP has somehow warped that into this really egregious way of demanding, not even asking, demanding money from people to exist. There's a difference. There's a difference. When you hear DSP beg, does it sound like he's begging or he's asking for money, or is he demanding it? Does he come across like he's entitled to it? There's a difference. But if you're socially inept, if you're fucking mentally disabled, you can't tell the difference. You don't know the difference. What is rewarded will be repeated. End of story. That's what this really comes down to.
Some people may be sitting here watching and enjoying and then not even think about contributing because they think that everything looks good, right? But you have to understand that it's through that reciprocation of me making the free content that you enjoy and you supporting it that it's all possible.
And it's not free if there's a demand or if there's an obligation to fucking give money to it. That's not free. That's not free. When you go to, I'm going to use a detractor, for example, or any detractor really. If you go to a detractor's fucking stream, do you feel obligated to fucking pay for that? Or do you sit there, you enjoy the content, and then you move on with your day? And that's free content, is it not? Is it behind a paywall? Is it a members only stream where you can't talk in the chat? I'm just asking. I'm looking for clarification. Because it's really weird to say that, oh, the content's free when it's clearly not, when you have someone badgering you multiple times within an hour to contribute, to contribute, to contribute. It doesn't sound free, then, is it?
If it all dried up and there was no support, I wouldn't be able to keep making the content. So it goes hand in hand, right?
Then the content's not free. Hey, I'm doing this thing. For me to keep doing this thing, you got to give me money. The content's not free then. Content's not free.
And so I'm very appreciative of those who do support. But when I'm sitting here and I'm like, Moses parted the Red Sea and you need to get the salty water off the pizza. Do you think that's serious? Does it sound serious? But the problem is my detractors are so stunted that either they think it's serious because they're dumb, or they're people who are disingenuous. They know it's not serious, but they'll say it is because they want to fool the dumb people into thinking I'm a bad person.
And see, that's what, yet again, I constantly point this out. That's one of his major problems. And that's the reason why he can never get people to side with him. Because you can take whatever I say any way you see fit. Whether you agree with me, disagree with me, whatever the fuck. I don't really care either which way. I gave you my opinion. Do with that what you will. I don't think any less or any more of you, whether you agree with me or not. So let's remix that. If I put out something and I stand on that and you disagree with it, I'm not going to call you an idiot because we agree to disagree. End of story. And I move on with my fucking day, to be honest with you. You have the right to say whatever you want about me, about Phil, about the content. That's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. End of story. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. So with that being said, how is he going to sit there and say, oh, well, these people are stupid because they watch this guy's content? They may not agree with everything that's said in that content. So why are they being labeled such a way? And how do you think that's going to translate into them supporting you by treating them or putting that type of narrative on them? Oh, you guys are idiots, you're dunces, you're mouth-drooling morons because you watch SnortBucks videos. How are you ever going to get them to appeal to any of your causes if you're innate response is to put those people down? How are you going to draw people to your side like that? That legitimately makes no damn sense. And yet that's what he does. And it's almost like he does it in this weird type of humiliation ritual. Like, oh, if he calls them stupid, or if he calls them dumb, or if he calls them sheeple, he thinks they're going to somehow wake up and then they're going to all start flocking over to his side. But the reality is, if that was true, wouldn't they be just as stupid or just as sheeple as they were if they were on this side? And if they are stupid, and if they are sheeple, or if they are any of those things, why would you want to appeal to any of those people anyway? See, none of that really makes any sense. And he says the same thing about his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, but it's clear that he wants them to sympathize with him or to see things his way. But why would you want to do that for a bunch of people that you feel that are intellectually stunted and or are just dishonest, apparently, are dishonest? Why would you want those people on your side? Why would you want those people to hear you out? I'll never understand that. That's fucking bizarre. That's really fucking weird. If I think you're a piece of shit and I decide to label you as that, that's it. I'm standing on that. And nothing else that needs to be said outside of that. You may make a good point every once in a while, whatever, but you're still a piece of shit. So that still doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is at that. And if I had any type of misgivings about it, I would have thought about it before I came out publicly and said what I said. That's kind of the point of being an adult. And also standing behind what you say. Instead of jumping on whatever trends with people you ain't talk shit about just because you feel that it's worthwhile in that moment. No one will ever take you seriously like that. Semantics.
So
that's the problem with that enemy of my enemy is my friend bullshit. That's why that shit never works.
they can make content and profit off of it. Because again, as I said many, many times, these idiots would not be making the content they do if they didn't profit off of it.
And yet people have been doing that shit for free for years. And what? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Notice they're all monetized now.
That's literally not true. Not everybody's monetized. So that's the thing. And then he never brings up the people who actually take in contributions that go directly to charity. He never speaks about that. He never speaks about that. Why is that, though? Why is it that DSP doesn't talk about, Extra Life? That's what Tevin does. There's a few other guys who do that too, but you know what I mean? Or Jasper's Angels, that's what Piece of Peace does. Why doesn't he bring up any of that stuff? Why doesn't he ever have anything negative to say about that shit? He won't even bring that up. For the longest time, he didn't even believe it. He thought that the Extra Life thing that Tevin did, he thought that was a scam, which is weird that you would think a charity is a scam. That sounds like some RTU bullshit. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? Lol cow brothers of a feather have to oink or whatever together.
Used to actually be a time when the content was demonetized. And people like
it wasn't demonetized, it just wasn't monetized. There's a difference. But if you're retarded, you don't know that.
The Sons of Kojima were very morally against monetization of this kind of content because they were standing for, we want Phil to be a better person and a better creator.
That's not true at all. That was a LARP, and obviously everybody knows that, and you know that. And even then, the motives that they had was actually something that Medicare had actually established and whatnot. That's a whole nother story for another day.
Rather than, oh, we just want to profit off of making fun of Phil. Well,
which they did. Like, they made money too. And people adjacent to them made money also. Fred just picked and chose who he could go after and who he didn't.
That's not the case anymore. Things have very, very much changed.
That sounds like some gatekeeper talk, Phil. Are you encouraging gatekeeping? Interesting.
Now it's all about the money. How do I make a buck? How do I run? You know what I'm saying? So...
yes, Phil, because every detractor, troll, hater, and critic that's monetized is making a living off your ass. Yeah, that's right. You're putting a lot of people's kids through through college, Phil. You're doing a real great job of that. And yet you can't profit yourself. That seems weird. That seems strange and whatnot. It's almost like, oh, I can go ahead and benefit off other people's hard work, i.e. playing video games poorly for a living, even though that's not what he does for a living, he begs, but you know what I mean. But people can't profit off of me. That's strange. That's weird. It's weird.
It's really ridiculous. But I mean, obviously, this is not, no, I'm not destitute. I don't actually need you guys to buy me pizza. Do you understand?
But then why are you begging for pizza?
It's not what we're doing. You know what I mean? It's not what we're doing here. That's not the point.
And weren't you the one that was crying about eating lunch meat sandwiches or whatever? That was you, right? That kind of sounds like, if your money's kind of tight, you make do with what you have. Not that, it's not like you're eating fucking mustard bread sandwiches or shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You can afford some lunch meat. You can afford a tomato, maybe some onions and shit. So what's the problem exactly? But then again, when he got confronted about that on Side Scrollers, he ain't sat there and fixed his droopy ass fucking lip real fast when Craig called that out. But semantics.
But again, you have to be intelligent to understand that. You have to understand some hype and, understand how it works. Again, anyone who has watched Kino Casino for more than 10 minutes and then comes to my content and has the balls.
It's not even the same thing. You need to stop. You need to stop. Just because you emulated them poorly, may I add, just because you emulated somebody else or a strategy poorly doesn't make it the same. Whatsoever. That's why when he tries to sit there and say, oh, well, why don't people listen to me when it comes to fighting games? They listen to Justin, they listen to Max, they listen to Arturo, they listen to this person and that person. I was around back in those days, because you can't compete where you don't compare. That's why. You're not the same. You and PPP are vastly different people. He's far more intelligent than you. He's far more charismatic than you. And he's willing to actually do dirt and be able to get away with it. Hell, he can even justify doing dirt better than you. There's literally a massive fucking distance, bro. Distance. There's a massive difference, I should say, between the two of you, between DSP and everybody. To be honest with you, even amongst when you think about it as it pertains to the caliber of lol cows, there's a massive difference between DSP and others. You know what I mean? So yet again, you can't compete where you don't compare.
To say that I ask too hard, I beg.
Well, you don't ask for anything, you demand. Let's make that very clear.
Beg too much, and I do all that. You're out of your fucking mind. Those guys are the consummate professional pros at asking for contributions in a way that hypes their crowd up, and then they receive them. But they joke constantly. Look how PP.
Yeah, but they're funny, and they actually know what a joke is. You don't. So,
PP talks on smart guys. Do you think that he's super?
Okay, so you were still sucking PPP's dick at this time. So okay. All right, I got you. I was wondering where we were at in this timeline. So PPP was still in play. All right, bet.
Serious about any of that shit that he's saying? Of course not. But he says, and he gets people excited and people laugh, and then they contribute. That's what you got to do. It's called about positive motivation versus negative begging.
So you yourself acknowledge that begging is negative? Interesting.
I say, I'm going to give you something.
Didn't you say begging was advertising, though? Didn't you say begging is just reinforcement to let people know that, hey, contributions are welcome, they are appreciated, they are mandatory? Sorry, not mandatory. That was a slip. But anyway, that was a thing. Didn't he say that? Didn't he say that if he doesn't beg, that if he doesn't let people know that he needs help, that people wouldn't help him? But now he's sitting here saying that begging is bad. It's bad to beg. But he spent years justifying that. Interesting. Okay.
Positive if you contribute. Like, I'm going to do a special event. I'm going to do a DSP Tries It that you control. We're going to do a marathon that you guys give me input on. Right?
So you're saying that you can be bought. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, that's the way I interpret it. Okay, fair enough.
Right? I'm going to get something new. I'm going to do Lego nights. I'm going to buy better Legos, right? Do you see? That's positive motivation.
He doesn't believe that. You can tell by how he slows things down towards the end of his words. He doesn't believe it. He's just grasping for straws.
Versus if I'm sitting here all day saying, oh, woe is me, things are bad for me, support me because things are awful. I do now that I'm out of that situation and I'm not doing.
So it was okay for you to lie and do all that bullshit while you were in it, but now that you're out of it, you finally see the folly in your ways? Huh. So does that mean that during the tax saga, you really didn't need that money for taxes? You were just lying and begging so you could get the money to get Cat to come from Michigan over to Seattle, Washington? So you really weren't going to lose your house? You just were going to lose your way of life if you couldn't get Cat if you couldn't pay to get Cat over? Sounds kind of like a prostitute, Phil, if you ask me. I don't know. I understand that supposedly the escort saga is supposed to be a massive fucking L for detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. I've never felt that way. The reality is that we just moved from one prostitute to another. Or, I'm sorry, escort, sorry. And instead of the escort's name being Kimberly, it was Catherine. A simple mistake to make. but the motives were certainly there. He paid for a woman to come out or to fly out and see him multiple times before he finally got her to move in. And he begged and pleaded for the money to make that happen the whole way through. Something to think about.
That anymore because I don't have to. I see how.
Well, if you've been around for a while, you know I've held that narrative since that happened. But you know what I mean? Holy shit.
Pathetic that is, how bad that is, how disingenuous that can be.
So how pathetic, how bad, and how disingenuous it was. And yet you defended it for years. So you think now you recognizing it just washes all that away? That's not how that works, just in case you didn't know.
Okay? But I was in a bad situation many years ago. And
so that justifies it. Oh, so I can lie to you guys, be disingenuous, and be malicious to you people, but that was because I was in a bad situation. So you got to just own that. You guys are going to have to take that. So take that. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen. So if that's the case, right? If that's the case, any detractor, troll, hater, or critic that decides the LARP and say, hey, man, I really need this money right now. If you guys really want me to keep this content going because I'm in a bad spot, I guess you guys are going to have to just eat that shit. Because, hey, the person's in a bad spot. So that justifies them being malicious, lying to you, being disingenuous. According to Phil, according to him, that's how it works. Hey, if you're in a bad spot, lie, steal, and cheat to get yourself in a good spot. Hey, an answer is an answer. It doesn't matter if it's the truth or not. It doesn't matter if I'm being honest or not. An answer is still an answer. Holy shit, bro. Holy shit. All right, then. Good. Let's hear some more.
That's why I had to act like that.
That's why I had to act like that. Now let's bring all that back. Let's bring all that back.
Now that I'm out of that situation and I'm not doing that anymore because I don't have to, I see how pathetic that is, how bad that is, how disingenuous that can be. Okay? But I was in a bad situation many years ago, and that's why I had to act like that. Now I don't have to do that anymore, nor do I ever want to return to doing that. So, you see? That's the difference. So
that's sick. That is fucking sick. Okay, I guess. All right then, fair enough. Fair enough. Holy shit. But see, if RTU did that, if Wings did that, if any of the lol did that, or if Team did that, DSP would be up their asses about it. But he could do it because he was in a bad spot. All right. Wow.
Here's the deal. If you get the shtick, you come, you enjoy the content, and you support it. And that's why I'm successful.
But how is it a stick when you just admitted that, hey, I did all these things because I had to? So it was a gimmick. It wasn't a gimmick then, but it's a gimmick now? The fuck? That's not how that works, but okay.
There are enough people out there who are intelligent and get the shtick and like the content. Sadly, there's a bunch of morons.
He's not hearing himself. He's literally just not hearing himself. Did he not pay attention to anything that he said before this? Okay. Holy fuck, bro. Shit. If fucking Cat shifted in the bedroom as fucking inconsistently, but if she could slide her way around the bedroom the way DSP talk, she would have never put on that weight. Holy fuck. But then again, she'd be able to get a better quality of man at that point too. At the very least, this is slimy. This is nasty. This is really, really fucking nasty. Ugh, this is nasty. This is filthy.
Who don't know anything because they're dumb as dirt. Like literally, they're not as smart as the rock rolling down the hill.
You mean like the idiots that you have sat there and lied to for all those years to get yourself out of a financial situation, and now, I guess, you're feeling comfortable to come out and say that shit? You mean like those dumb fucking, I guess, Monday Matt Boulders and shit? You mean like that situation? You mean like that? That's crazy, because if you really think about it, he's literally talking about the people who he lied to for all those years to get himself to where he's at now. That's literally who he's shitting on. It's crazy, bro. That's icky.
They're that stupid. So they believe everything. They're gullible morons. And
you mean like the gullible morons who listened to you and all your bullshit when you were sitting there crying and complaining, right? But you had to do it, though, because you had no other choice. It must be amazing to be a psychopath. Like, to be a sociopath especially. But to be a sociopath and a psychopath, because he's theoretically both. And what I understand, everybody just wants to throw around being a fucking narcissist and shit, but it's far deeper than that. But either way, there must be something incredibly liberating about that. to be able to just lie like this and then shit on the people that you're lying to, right? Without any type of like moral catch, right? Without you for a second thinking to myself, holy shit, I need to ease the fuck back on what I'm saying right now, because it's making me think or feel or seem a certain type of way. There has to be something incredibly liberating about that. I don't know if I'm someone who's mentally stable to be able to do that. I don't think so. I don't think I trust me, if I wouldn't use my powers for good, you know, for good, even if I wanted to. But this is something completely different. Like, this should be studied. This should most certainly be studied, because you holy fuck, I'm about to almost be without words. Be without words. This needs to be studied. A normal functioning person doesn't do this. You don't do this. Not at all. This is something incredibly deeper than that, and even far more disturbing in some ways. It's entertaining though, but that's not how normal people move. Not like this.
Get fooled by these idiots who make negative content. They don't look into anything. They don't research anything. They just believe everything they're told. And they're marks, meaning they're easy marks. They're dumb enough that they will throw money at idiots because they think that they're doing something.
Now, keep in mind, this is the same idiot who's setting up Kino Casino to get fucked over, by the way. Keep that in mind.
Something good, and they're exposing something. You're exposing nothing. There's nothing to expose. But they don't get that because they're that dumb. They actually feel like they're part of a good movement. They're just a bunch of morons. Okay. So, some more support here.
Didn't he just praise SOK just a minute ago? So what? Were they just a different class of morons, or how does that work exactly?
Darksydephil gifted a sub to J-Strip. Thank you, Darksydephil. I appreciate that. Now we're up to 107. And I received a $5 tip from Mulciber. I opened YouTube this morning. I'm greeted with 10 videos from idiots. They want DSP to take responsibility for things that he hasn't done. Go insult him. Go attack him. All the things that
he just admitted to all of you that he lied to your face for years and justified it because, oh, I was in a bad situation. I did what I had to do. And yet you're going to call the people who called that out while he was doing it in real time, they're the idiots? Okay. Fair. Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
they spread about you, the weirdest one I've heard about you is you stole a man's chair. Oh, I did. I burst into someone's house and I stole his chair right out from under him as he was sitting there. And he busted his ass. It was very embarrassing. But it's something I pride myself on. They called it the swipe of the century. How I scooped.
You mean like how you prided yourself on that 4th place finish at Evo that no one cares about except for assholes like me? Okay, fair enough.
Up the chair from under the man and he crashed and landed on his rotunda ass. I have no idea what you're talking about. But thank you, Mulciber.
That was either OP seats or spawn seats. I can't remember which one it was now. I want to say... Oh shit. I want to say that was... I want to say that was spawn seats, was it? Like, was it? Oh, fuck. No, I'm not sure. I want to say spawn seats was the one who gave him the chair for free, and then they got exposed for operating out of that fucking television, like, repair shop or whatever the fuck that was. And OP Seats was the company he was advertising for, and then they pulled out of the deal when they found out what was what. I may have it mixed up though. I may have it back the other way around. That was an interesting thing too. I need to go back over that. That'd be fun to look over. That shit was hilarious.
For a $5 tip.
It was one of the few times where DSP's infamy got himself something for free. So there's that. Because DSP was too stupid to sit there and advertise something that he didn't even have in hand yet. How are you going to sit there and contest, or not contest, but compliment a particular item or product that you don't even have in hand yet? Oh my god, amazing. Literal sucker for love type shit.
There you go. That's great.
Was it this early in the stream and you're that greasy? God damn, get up and wash your face. For real. Good God.
See, here's the thing. Someone said, what about your setup? Are you going to improve stuff again? I don't know. Because the thing is, every single time I think that my setup is done, another idea comes up. Someone says, hey, what about this? You could do this. Or we talk about a project and we pop up an idea for a show or a thing I can do. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that could work. That could work, right? Did I ever think I was going to get a green slipcover for my chair? No. But I got it, and now my chair doesn't have the issue with the background removal tool anymore, right? Like, I feel like in the business I'm in, I feel like consistent improvement is always required to avoid stagnation and to make sure that you're always keeping something fresh for the audience, as opposed to me sitting here like a lump, which I did for a long time, not trying, not innovating, not doing anything new, not listening to feedback, not interacting, but instead saying, I have to make content. Boot game, grab controller, press record, ha, ha, ha.
Isn't that the same thing you do now? You were an NPC then and you're an NPC now. So what exactly changed?
Look at that asshole. Look at the size of her boobies. Look at this guy. He's taking a shit. Oh, chop off.
I mean, I guess it is weird to hear a gay man try to act like he's straight, if that's what you're trying to say, Phil. I don't know. I'm making some big assumptions here. But is that what that is? Because if you think about what he's saying, if he was just being a drone and just going with what he thought people wanted to hear, is it beyond the spectrum? Is it beyond the spectrum that he is a closeted homosexual who made all those sexual jokes about women because he thought that's what people wanted to hear? Makes you think.
Doing anything new, not listening to feedback, not interacting, but instead saying, I have to make content. Boot game, grab controller, press record, ha, ha, ha. Look at that asshole. Look at the size of her boobies. Look at this guy. He's taking a shit. Oh, chop off his head. Get his dick. Shove it up his asshole. Oh, I finished my video. Done. Upload. Okay, see you tomorrow. See the difference? That was my old style.
He could die tomorrow, and I'll have content for the next decade, bruh. Just going back and really looking at this shit because of the dumb shit he says now. If you apply that to shit that he said before, you open up Philip's box into all kinds of other weird ass fucking degenerate bullshit or just peculiar shit that he may have said or done. And he doesn't even realize it because he blurts shit out of his mouth without even thinking, not realizing what the consequences are. Until they actually happen. And by then it's far too late to try to explain it away. Absolutely amazing. Fucking cinema.
To a T. That was my old content every day. Just regurgitation of the same shit. And now every day when I come to work, I don't even know what I'm going to do half the time. Right? I don't know how a Lego stream is going to work. I didn't know what indie game I was going to play on stream last night. I have absolutely no clue what kind of unbridled, uncontrollable nonsense will happen on Smart Guys this coming Thursday night. But it's all good, right?
This is literally him over-promising and under-delivering, which is the one thing he keeps telling you guys he don't do. And what I love, this shit-eating grin he has right here. That's literally what this is. It's over-promising and under-delivering. And as long as he can get his payout early, whatever, deal with it. Fucking slime ball.
No, sadly, there are no free subs to give out on Kick. Kick does not give free subs. Like, I get...
What about the shit on YouTube? When's the last time he passed that out?
10 free memberships to give out on my YouTube channels every month, but Kick...
And half those months he doesn't even do it.
If 0.
Didn't he have like a free like Prime sub he could give back when he was over there on Twitch? He never does that either. Well, he never did do it. He doesn't, and he still don't do it now. That's wild, bro. Ungrateful piece of shit.
So I can't give anything free out to anyone. I would.
Expect everything from everybody, but don't give anybody anything. Or let everybody have nothing in return. Amazing, just amazing.
If I had them, but
Fucking scumbag.
okay. By the same logic, why do I have to repeat my schedule? Because my schedule constantly changes.
That's literally not true at all. It's straight repetition. He does it that way because it's the only way that he can keep track of shit. That's the reason why he used to have the calendar on the wall. He probably still do. He probably just doesn't write on it. It's the reason why he does anything and whatnot. He needs, let's reword this. He needs to build a stability. And for some people, especially people like Phil, stability comes through repetition. It's kind of the only way that he can really function. You know what I'm saying? Because it gives him the, not facade, I guess it gives him the comfort of consistency and whatnot. Because DSP don't like surprises. DSP does not like uncertainty. DSP don't take risks. He don't believe in it. So if you can have something that's cemented, and not only cemented to you, but cemented to everybody else, to the point where it becomes what's it called, normality, then it works in the best way possible. Everything falls in line and falls into place. At least that's my thoughts.
If you haven't noticed, in the last week, my schedule has changed 4 times because there's things fluctuating, things are moving around, and if people don't know what I'm doing at any given time, they might miss out on what they're doing. The thing is, I'm a variety creator. If I was the kind of guy who like...
So then it wouldn't matter then what you do, because if you're a variety creator and everything, every day is theoretically different, shouldn't that be the appeal of, oh, showing up to a Darksydephil stream and never know what you're going to get? I mean, even though it's like that now, it's just not to his benefit. Wouldn't that be a thing? Or is it also not just the normality, but it's also the facade of credibility? I have a work schedule just like the rest of you guys, and I have to adhere to that schedule, just like you guys. So how can you guys say that I'm not working a job if I have all of the quote-unquote trappings of a job? And what is one of the concrete tomes, if you will, of having a job, is having a schedule, which is weird because you make your own schedule because supposedly you run your own business. So you don't actually have to adhere to that in the way of somebody who has a job or a career. You do realize that, right? No, you don't realize that. So there you go.
Every time I streamed, I'm doing the same shit, then you wouldn't need a schedule at all. But since I'm doing something different every stream, it's important to have a schedule that's laid out, that's organized, that's consistent, so you know what's going on.
Told you.
So I pride myself on that, on having, here's my set schedule, here's when I'm streaming, here's what I'm doing each stream.
But see, the thing is it just makes it boring and it makes it predictable. So if he failed at this game on Monday and then he's going to play it on Wednesday, do you really need to show up Wednesday? Now, you could go ahead and be like, oh, well, maybe he'll overcome it. Maybe it might be worthwhile to see how he deals or whatever. Well, see, here's the problem with that. Because DSP streams on YouTube and the what's the term for it? The on-demand content will be up later on that day. There really isn't any urgency to show up to his streams. On top of that, you could tip him without even being on stream. So that right there kind of cuts that too. You see how him streaming and then putting content on the same fucking platform has actually hindered him, and he don't even see it. And that's why he's going to need to go back to Twitch. Because Kick's not doing it. Especially since he can't suck off Kino Casino anymore. He's got to go back to Twitch. And then he's going to probably end up losing his hourly pay on Kick anyway, once he hits a certain threshold of not being able to have enough people watching him on Kick. So Twitch is really the last resort.
So people can appropriately plan to be there. You also got to understand.
And what kind of loser do you have to fucking schedule in showing up to a fucking streamer's stream, basically? You know how dumb that is? Why can't you just show up whenever you have the time to show up? It shouldn't have to be scheduled into your fucking day. That's weird. That's weird. Most detractors, trolls, haters, and critics don't schedule DSP content into their day. It's just something that they do. You got time for it, you got time for it. You don't, you don't. Dude, trust me, if I feel sick, if I'm tired, if I got something else to do, I'm not making anything that day. So it is what it is. But, you know what I'm saying? You want people to schedule that shit in? What the fuck? Shit, I'm doing this now because I'm behind and I have the time to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking hey. And this wasn't even the video I thought it was. I'm glad I did it, though. But this wasn't even the video that I'm actually hyping myself up for. But that's weird to ask people to schedule you into their day. Or schedule, yeah, to schedule them into your day, I should say. That's weird. That's real weird. That's not what streaming was meant to be. You know what I mean? That's not what streaming was meant to be.
The vast majority of my income comes from my live audience. So it's important that I have the live audience in the right place at the right time, or else I might miss out on support that day because I did something willy-nilly and people didn't like it.
And what happens to the people who show up anyway and they don't like what you're doing and then you don't hit the goal? Then what's the excuse there? See how we keep pushing the goalpost back? And it's not just the situation, but it's the scenario. And that's why DSP can never really get into a debate with any of his detractors. You know what I'm saying? At least the ones who know what they're talking about anyway. He just can't do it. He'll lose out. Like, if I can take everything that comes out your mouth and use it against you, you probably shouldn't be talking. And that's why Wings is more than likely not going to debate another troll or whatever on his situation. I mean, every once in a while somebody slides through or whatever, but it never really works out for him. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're talking about like an actual situation, like the last time that dude was in the Lion's Den, or the most infamous time, I should say, because he's been in the Lion's Den a couple times now I think about it, or a few times, to be honest with you, he always gets folded up. And he always gets folded up because, one, he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. Two, he thinks he can reason with people who he himself has said are unreasonable. And three, and most importantly, he is predictable and he's susceptible to fucking the smallest notion. If you can fall for tricks, if someone can condition you or lead you, you're basically not going to beat anybody at anything. You're only going to hurt yourself. All of those things are the trappings of a lolcow, by the way. And that's why I kind of want to go over the fucking reverse jumping. It wasn't reverse jumping. The jumping of fucking that happened on lolcow Live when 007 went up there and shit. Because what it was supposed to be was a debate between 007 and Wings, and it turned into a jumping basically. But I want to go back over that because if 007's approach was tweaked ever so slightly, he could have won that. He could have won that and made all three of them look stupid and whatnot. At least the way I would have done it anyway. But that's neither here nor there. But I do want to go over that so I can kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. Because it was very clear from Jump Street. They were never going to hear anything that 00 said out. They were never going to actually really take anything he says into consideration. It was all about getting him in there and then trying to cut him down to basically put the edict out for any other troll that, hey, you can't fuck with Wings anymore as long as he's over here with us. Which is lame, by the way.
You see the difference? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So last chance, guys, if you would like to support or say anything, we're almost to the goal. Guys, can we just, seriously, let's hit the goal right now. As we finish this podcast, let's hit the goal. So then as I'm playing Yakuza for the next 2.5, 3 hours, we can just focus on the game and see if we can hit another goal during it. But let's just do it now. Get it done, locked in.
This is literally begging, but I thought we don't do this, though. Is this how PvP motivates people between segments? Okay.
37, then we've only got 3 to go for the pizza party. Who's going to do it?
Begging to do a one-man pizza party. Holy fuck. And didn't DSP actually jump on LTG for having a one-man pizza party in that big-ass kitchen and shit? And yet, you're literally begging to do damn near the same thing. Imagine that.
Let's get a super chat or let's get a tip. You know, Kick has been crazy this morning with the subs. It would be great if we could get something from the YouTube side that would kick that over and get us to the goal.
Amazing. Just amazing.
If bears have bear claws and otters have otter pops, what does the sheep get? Lamb chops. Hasha! Hoi! Lamb chops.
Okay. Sure. Whatever. Yeah, go with that. Oh man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There wasn't nearly as much SOK praise that I thought they were going to be in this. I feel like I got clickbaited here a bit. You know what I'm saying? That's unfortunate, Diggs. When the quarterly interview comes around, I may have to bring this up, sir. I don't like that. I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit. Anywho, big ups to Diggs. Big ups to let's not go with that one. Let's go with this one. Yeah, let's go with this one. Big ups to Raw Phil. Okay. In closing, so his only compliment he could give to SOK was, at least the way he interprets it, was they weren't doing it for profit and they gatekeeped other people. So, i.e., they kept the herd in line, I guess. Huh. Okay. And it's not begging, it's ask and you shall receive. And Kino Casino does the exact same thing, and no one has a problem with that. And their audience is receptive to it, so why can't I do it? Even though the margin between you and Kino Casino it's such a wide gap that I don't even know if he could fathom it, to be honest with you. There's a reason why they're as ridiculously successful as they are and DSP isn't. There's a reason why DSP is sitting here trying to say, oh, I need to have that stream to where I can get $3,000 on my own to prove that he was better than Kino Casino. Fuck all that. Make 50 grand in 8 months without Kino Casino or any collaborations for that matter, and then maybe you'll say something. But not on the lowest fucking margin of, oh, I want to match or exceed what I did in the Review Tech USA reaction. That's weird. And that in 3 grand is supposed to reinforce the value, your own self-worth and your value to your audience? That's pathetic. Anywho, I guess so. That's stupid as stupid does, I suppose. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? How do you guys feel? That's the lying, bro. Holy fuck, the lying that he did was fucking insane, bro. Insane. And how he fucking said, oh, I did this, I had to do this during the I guess during the dark days, if you will. I had to do that because I had no other choice, but it's okay now because I don't have to do it anymore. So you can justify lying and misleading people and all this bullshit because you felt, let's be very clear about this, you felt that you were in a bad situation or a bad enough situation that warranted. So instead of doing better, it was just easier to lie and mislead people to think that you were in such a bad spot that you could literally lose everything. And that's okay now because you don't have to do it anymore. Despite the fact that you're begging harder now than you did during the Save Your House arc. I can't fathom how that works, but holy fuck. I can't really fathom that shit, but it is, I guess, what it is. Can't really make sense out of shit like this. It's not how the world works, if you will. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to keep blabbering about this. Let's go ahead and close up shop. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. I'll catch you guys for the next one of these, whatever that may be, hopefully sooner than later. Fucking A, bro. Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Snort Report. This has been DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes, a GTG Network and Productions. For Hard Snorts Gin and Tonic, SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company, Tim Snortons, and all of our affiliates and subsidiaries. I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Fucking hey, man, you can just lie to people for whatever reason, and it's justified because you felt like you were in a bad situation. All right, man. Do what you gotta do. Take care of yourselves, people. Later.